right, welcome back. It's Raymond for Stream Gamers. In our previous episode, episode 1, Custom Airport CKK7, this will be episode 2. And I've put the airport in, and I want to kind of go over some of the reasons why we have to modify the airport, and I want to show you what you would see if you don't actually modify the not the airport, but the runway the way it's supposed to be done. So let's get ourselves to the airport, CKK7. And so right now, if you look under here, we only have runways. We don't have parking spots. We don't have a fuel. We don't have none of that stuff. And we're gonna create all of that. But if you look at the runways, hang on, I want to get rid of that custom. If you look at the runways, there's runway 36 and there's runway 18, but the runway should start here, in here, right? Just like the grass strips, they actually do start correctly. So because we put this runway in, we have to move the starting points to their appropriate positions, right? Because we'll have a starting point here. So when you get into the sim and pick runway 36, you will be here. When you pick 18, you will be here, right? So there's 18, that needs to be moved over there, and there's 36, that needs to move over here. So for now, what we're going to do is we're going to put ourselves there, and we're going to set our departure to that, and we're going to click in. And of course, this will take a minute for me. I was going to say it's going to take a minute for me, but it won't take but a few seconds for you because I was going to fast forward through it, but I didn't need to. So here we are. Now, our actual airport and so forth is, if we look over here, it's back over there, right? So we'll just get it. We'll get back into the SDK. Now this time we're gonna click on Open Project. That's our folder that has our project. That's the starting file that creates the project, or that opens the project. We'll click the little arrow here. Open this up here. We'll let it do whatever it does there. Click on Scenery, Load in Editor, and here we are once again loaded in the editor. Again, push the down arrow key, scroll up, gives you a bit of a new perspective. We're going to change the weather again, just simply because we want to have what the ground looks like without the snow. There we go. Okay. So let's start with the runway. Click the airport right here. These are all of the assets that are within the airport. Those are the runways with the properties opened up. If we go down to here and we click on start, or runway start, we have edit position and edit position. This is primary and secondary. We'll use primary as our 3.6. And so there's our 3.6. We're going to grab this, and we could grab this and just drag it, push the back arrow key, press the S key in your keyboard. I know I've gone over the key controls a few times, but I'm going to quickly do that one more time. So the the A, S, D, and W keys allow you to move around. You can hold the right mouse button in, and allows you to do this when it's not bringing up that sub menu. Why it does that, I don't know, but it does, and I wish there was a solution for it. This erroneous line that's here kind of suggests that that's where the runway is, but that is where the runway was initially placed. We moved it. It does this in 2020 as well. It keeps that initial placement. I'm not sure why it does that, but it does. One moment. Maybe I am sure why it does that. Let's, just out of curiosity, let's click on the runway, which is there. I just thought of something. So we have it set at 359. Well, maybe that isn't what I thought. Anyways, let's not get distracted. We're moving this over here. And there. Now, noted that that little green arrow isn't kind of lined up. So when the aircraft comes on ground, it'll sit here, but it'll point kind of crooked to the runway. We can change that by selecting View Gizmo. By the way, these windows, you can shrink them. There was a point in time where I actually had them all stacked in the corner nice and neatly here, but I can't seem to find a way to drag this window off of its perch. So I'm sure there's a way, I haven't figured it out yet. But anyways, so if we click on rotate, we see it rotate. The green one is the one we want to rotate. So we can rotate the position so it kind of faces down the runway like it's supposed to. And that's good. Next, we're going to do we'll remove that and we'll go to the other end. Oops. And runway again. So we'll grab this line. We'll bring it over here somewheres. Put it, there's a good spot. We'll do the rotate, click rotate, line it up down the runway like it's supposed to be, and we now have completed that function. We'll get rid of the gizmo for now, and actually I think what I'll do is I'll move that back because I won't use this menu much, but I will use this one constantly. Okay, so now when we start the aircraft, we can pick runway 36 and we'll spawn in right here and vice versa over there. So that resolves that issue. The next thing that we're going to look after is what? What are we going to deal with? Well, maybe what we'll deal with is hold short markers and that sort of thing. And we'll also maybe look at, how do we get the runway have I clicked on something and left something clicked on again? I think what we'll do is we'll save. You should periodically click on Scenery Editor and hit Save. And it's likewise, it's not a bad idea periodically throughout your thing. You'll see it's outdated. That's because I've made changes. It's not a bad idea to click All in Progress. Progress, I think that's what it says there. It's not a bad idea to do that. And you should expect to see something like this pop up. Don't worry about the warnings, and really don't worry about the errors as much. What you want is this right here. Here you don't want it to say fail. If there's other errors in here, usually that is irrelevant. Not always, but usually. So anyways, and then make sure you clear the results so that the next time you rebuild it, you'll get a complete look at what it is between then and now, as it were. Okay. Now, oh, that's why. I got to remove that check mark. No. I'm not sure why I'm unable to. There we go. I had that check mark, that edit the secondary positioning. Okay, so this constant removing of the mouse is just a very difficult thing, and I wish I knew what it was that I was doing that was causing that. Oh, press the control key and maybe it brings it back. Ah, okay. Okay, okay. Maybe I've learned something. Okay. So the first thing we want to do is we want to kind of deal with the taxis. Now, when an aircraft is parked somewhere, let's say for example right here, if the aircraft is parked right here in one of these parking spots that I'll do that now. Let's put some parking spots down. Let's go to scenery, objects. Let's go to taxiway parking. Here you have the ability to pick which parking you want it to be. You want it a field parking, a gate parking, a GA ramp parking, and for this airport, that's what it's going to be, is GA. So we'll go GA ramp, one place click. There's the circle now. Don't be alarmed by the size of the circle because we will change that. We're not parking large aircraft here. So we'll remove that. We'll click on this one here. We'll go to properties, and here we see the diameter is 12 meters. Likewise, if you look right here, that's just kind of a small aircraft. But just to put it into perspective, that's the 172 over there, which is considerably narrower than these things. Now, I'm sure there's a way to figure this out, but what I typically will do is I'll make these like an 8 meter or something like that. If you want them to be a bigger diameter because you want to have a parking spot for a larger aircraft, go ahead and figure that out. The next thing is the direction in which it's facing. Right now, those are now facing, you see the arrows, they are facing, the parking spaces are facing to 180 degrees. You can change that number. You can rotate these, but you can also change the number. So for example, if I wanted that to be facing 90 degrees, there it is. Now it's facing 90 degrees. I'm going to keep the 180 just because I think it's a reasonably decent facing. I'm going to move these a little bit like that. Now remember, the terminal is sitting right here, and there's a building here, and a building back here, and a building back here. So just be mindful of where you're placing these. You're going to move these around later on. There's no problem with that. But now I want to connect these taxiways to here, because if you look at this, is now all these two parking spots are in yellow, and they're in yellow because they don't actually connect themselves to the rest of the airport. Okay. So what we do is we go here and we go to taxi and we go to taxi points. We're going to place a taxi point, not a hold short, a normal one. We're going to place a taxi point. Let's place one about there. Let's put one about there. Another one about there. That's good. Get rid of that. Okay. So each one of these has a point there and another point there. And we're going to join those 2 points together. Okay. Holding the control key together. Yes, holding the control key. If we right click, we create a path. So now we have a path between this parking spot and this line here, right? And apparently we've also created another one that is there as well. I don't know how that one got created, but it did. That's kind of a weird thing. I always thought I had to do that individually. Well, we'll say that we don't have to. And then we're going to create this path to that point, right click, create a path. And now you notice that these two that were yellow, they've disappeared. And that's because they're actually now connected to the rest of the thing. Now, granted, look at the material and the thickness and all that. So we're going to change that. We're going to click on that. We're going to go to property. What we're going to do is we're going to make this with no material. And we're going to make this with no material. And this with no material. We're going to change this to, let's say, tan. This to tan. This to tan. Now, why do we have this weird material? I wonder if it's still because of these. Let's change that to 5. And let's remove you. Let's remove you and change you to 5 as well. So I still have some erroneous material in here that I thought I had removed. I did. It's interesting. That is right. What is wrong is, so the sim still thinks there's material here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to drag this over a little bit. You know what? Better yet, what I'm going to do I'll have to try to figure out why this is still showing material. That is the right material for that. That is the right material for that. But I do have some erroneous material showing up. Let's, out of curiosity, let's make that 5. Let's make that 5. Make you 5. Well, I think what I'm going to do is get rid of that. Okay. Is there a transparent in here? No. Draw surface. That's what we'll use. We'll remove the surface. We'll just say, you know what? Don't draw the surface. I just don't quite understand this. I'm gonna pull this back just to see what it does. Oh, I see. It's almost like there. Normal, forward, yeah. Okay. What's this, 15? Just bear with me as I kind of filter through this and find out why it's doing what it's doing. I do need to connect these 2 points. If I don't connect those 2 points, this will stay in yellow. So we got to create a path between the 2 points. And then we got to create a path between here and here. But I'm gonna change what I've done here because I want this to be there, and then I want this to be selected, which is that point and that point, and then I want to create a path. Oops. Oops. Okay. I'm not sure. This must be something new that they've done, because I've never had this happen to me before, where I got this little, what looks like an additional apron at the end of the taxiway when we make the connection. Center line, enable collaboration. No, we don't want that, for sure not. Width is that, and there is no height limit. Memo pad. It's a strange, this is a strange thing. It's like it's picking its own material based off of what, I don't know. But if I remove the material, then it all disappears. Runway asphalt. What's the material that I want? Oh, I see. Got to be a little more specific about how you type it. Well, I'll put it back for now, and we'll have to figure this out. I'll have to figure out why it's doing this, and I'll fill you guys in later on once I understand it. I mean, it's kind of weird if I were to put a split path in there and drag this dealy whopper here. My guess is that if I delete this, and then I merge this to this, and simply by right-clicking and hit merge point, it reconstructs this weird material. So I'm not sure what the solution is for this, but we'll live with it for now, because we don't have any choice. I wonder what happens if I pull this into there. It just keeps a complete separation. See, the fact of the matter is that there is no material beyond this point. There should be no material beyond that point. Now it's not even showing material at all. I think there's an issue here. Well, I guess we won't spend any more time on this. We'll have to figure out why now material won't even go there at all. Have I clicked on an object here? No, I don't have an object clicked on improperly. So what is the error that it doesn't like? It's interesting. This area here, I understand what that error is. That yellow that you're seeing there is the fact that it's saying it's not connected. So that's what that is. Right here, it's saying there is no connection here. So if we were to grab this and drag this into here and make that sort of as a connection point, let me pull that back. Let me pull that. Merge this into here. Yeah, see, it's actually got varying different colors as well. I'll have to try to better understand that. What we want is we want this to be over top of that, and so when I click on here, we give it a weight limit of 1, and that weight limit, and this we give it a weight limit of. It doesn't provide a weight limit. It's not acting correctly. I think there's an issue that I've done here that I don't know. So duplicate taxi parking. Oh, that's what that error is. Yes, I knew that. Yes. We didn't go over this. So when we're in the parking pad right now, this is the number, right? So this is going to become 1. Notice how that red has disappeared. And this one will become 2. And so the red error has gone away. Okay? Now, I'm going to create a taxiway onto the runway from the taxiway itself, right? So if we go to taxi point, we are on taxi point, normal, yes, add. We got our little blue diddy-dotty line. We're going to click one there. And now we're going to go here to here. Nope. Here, there, to there, right click, create the path, and there's the path. And we're going to go here, back to properties, we're going to not draw the surface. And yet the surface gets drawn anyways. keep on doing the same thing, expecting different results, and I'm not getting them. I don't want that highlighted, but I do want it highlighted. I don't want that to be drawn, but it is. I don't want it to be that, but it is. Again, we'll figure that out later. So what I want to do here is I want to put a center line in, and then I want to take this dot and I'm going to move that over here somewheres. Yeah, maybe that's too far. Let's move that back here. That's good. And this, we're going to actually create that as a center line as well. So you can now see we got this nice center line that goes here. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to create a little apron right here, because that's what needs to be there. So we're going to go here, we're going to go apron, default, we're going to one place click, touch, add, blah, blah, blah. Then we're going to do that, that. And that's kind of the shape of the apron. I'm gonna get rid of this dot, and then I'm gonna get rid of this extra one because I incessantly click. I want that one gone. There we go. And I want that material to be the same as this material right here. So click on that, and there we go. And eventually, when this material shows up, I suspect, to be honest with you, I think what's happened here is it is there, but we would need to resave out the SDK, rebuild the package, reload the package in, and then it'll show up. 2024's SDK is a little glitchy still, as 2020's was when it first came out. So rest assured, it will eventually correct itself. No holds short. So if you ever run across these warning messages and error messages, just put your cursor up there. It says no hold short in less than 200 meters of the runway. So we don't have a hold short anywhere in here. Now I could put a hold short there, but I'm not. What I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on this path. I'm going to split the path, and I'm going to get this little dot. I'm going to move that up over here somewheres. Yeah, probably in this area. Let's put it right there. Now that little dot, if you look here under the properties menu, it's a normal one, but I can change that and I can make that a hold short. And so there it is. That is now a hold short. And keep in mind, it's a hold short based on the runway width itself, right? Not runway, taxiway width. If we were to change that width, instead of 5 meters, if we were to have that width be 15 like we originally planned on, and this one 15, we get a decent hold short. Okay. Yeah. I don't care for how this looks, but we're going to get that corrected at some point. At some point, the SDK is going to cooperate with me, and it's going to allow me to put this over top of the runway. It won't do that right now, but it will eventually. Okay, so likewise over here, we're going to create this and this and this. No, we'll do that one at a time. Taxiway, we'll put center lines there, we'll put a center line there. And so now you see these are your parking spots. So you can change these. Like if you click on this, you can remove the T handle, the T, man, this nonsense of the mouse. I'm trying not to complain about it too much, but it's frustrating. Anyways, parking right there. We have a taxi. We don't have a taxiway there. Let's taxiway. We don't have a center line there. Let's put a center line there as well. Okay. So we've got taxi parking. We've got our center lines guiding us down here. What we don't have is this hold right here. And so what we're going to do is we're going to click on this. We're going to go split the path once again. We're going to grab this. And then we're going to go here to objects, and then we're going to go to taxi point. And we're going to click a dot there. We'll click a dot there. And we'll click here. We'll split this again. We'll move this up to here somewheres. And then we'll hold control down. We'll grab that, right click, create a path. And so now we also have, you see, this path that we've added in here. So for example, the way I'm told, by the way, I know the person that runs the airport. I don't know him very well, but I don't know him well enough. I know that this little apron right here is, this is a flight training school as well. And so should you come out of here and taxi out here, you would go into here, you would sit here, you would do your run up here, you know, do all your run up and everything else here. If there's another aircraft coming in, it can go by you while you're doing your run off, and then you gain the runway and go. That's the reasoning behind this here. I think I'm going to change the size of this apron as well. I'm going to move that out just a skosh. I'm going to move this one out as well. Come on out, click in there. Did I get it clicked? I didn't. There. So we got that. Now, if you find, for example, like here, the trees are a little close to the runway. Typically when you do this, you have the fall off, right? And so the fall off says, you know, push everything away from this center point, X number of meters, feet, whatever you want to call it. But if all of a sudden you find that it's just not right for you, you want to kind of customize that a little bit. So for example, this corner here, you look at it and you say, yeah, you know, these trees right here, they're just a tad close for me, for my liking right here. Okay. Now, really, is that really true? Not really. But let's say that was. You wanted this to be pulled back a little bit. It would be as simple as creating a polygon. Thusly, one place click add. We'll do this, we'll do this. Finish it off there. Now go back to here, back to vegetation, pull that vegetation to 0, and it will then remove anything within that polygon, unless you don't finish it off. Now I've actually created another extra polygon, so we'll delete that. So now, if I click on that, I can pull this back here. I can move this here, and you'll notice that tree has disappeared now. So if you find yourself running into those issues where that is the case, that's how you can handle it. For example, that tree right there, you might decide that it's not right. You can just draw a polygon around it. The next thing I want to kind of go over, I did a bit of a test of this, and it does appear that they're working now, but there was a point in time where it wasn't always, that's a little gusty, isn't it? Where it wasn't working properly. So right now we've got the weather. We've got the weather moving from 270. Okay, so from 270. Which way am I facing now? I'm facing 360. So from 270, blowing that way. So it appears to be right. There has been weather socks that do not act to the wind correctly. So just be mindful of that. And that is a way that you can actually test the wind sock that it is functioning correctly. Okay? I'm going to move that back to 0 because I don't want wind. Did I not move it back to 0? That indicates that I still have wind. Now I got 11 knots, that's why. Back to 0. Okay, so that's the thing. Again, if that all of a sudden is a problem and you want to remove it and just add your own, because that was what I would always do, is I would just re-add my own. I always found that adding my own made it, more realistic, and the windsock would work properly. So you can use the exclusion rectangle as I showed earlier on in the video. All right, so here we are. We have got some taxiways. We got some stuff here. We've got some weird stuff going on here, which I suspect will correct itself once I reload it and put it back into the sim, which I will do here shortly before we get to episode 3. But this is episode 2. If you find yourself down here and you go say to yourself, well, there's no fuel rail here, but we've got parking that parks at the fuel rail. It's as simple as adding in an object, sim object. Now there is a ton of default objects in here. Again, if you have created your own fuel system in Blender, you could import that one in. We won't do that for this, but if you had made one, you could do that. What we're going to do is we're going to look for fuel and see what we got. Fuel logs, Europe. We're going to do a one-place click touch again. It seems as though these are not what we're after. We don't want a fuel truck. I mean, we could put a fuel truck down here. Let's put that one there, because later on we might utilize that guy. Is it scenery I want, maybe? Yes, it is. There's a fuel box right there. So you can see, now this is in addition to what 2020 SDK was. 2020's SDK, you didn't have this option to look at all of the imagery and to get a better feel for what you actually do want, which is, I think, is a really nice touch. But let's pick a fuel box that kind of suits what our needs are here. We may very well put a fuel tank in here somewhere, so we may just do something like this for now. No, that's not. Let's do this for now. We'll put that fuel box right there. Right. So now, of course, the hose is kind of placed in the wrong position, and really, it's really placed in the wrong position. Let's say we want to use this as our refueler, so we could click on that, drag it, and put it kind of in the front, and then we can go here to edit, no, view, gizmo, rotation, and we'll just rotate that there. Now we know this is faced in 180 degrees. The reality is if we wanted to, we could change the heading to 0, and that would be perfectly aligned. So that's one way to do that. I'm going to get rid of the gizmo now. Oops, I shouldn't have got rid of the gizmo. Gizmo, let's go back to translate. Now we'll get rid of the gizmo. So now we got a fuel box sitting there. Let's kind of review what we've done. We've got our taxiways in. We've got this all in. Again, this I believe will show up once I save it out and reload it back into the sim. All of that will show. We've got our hold short put in. We put in our starting locations for our runways on both ends. We've verified that the windsock is accurate and correct. We've discussed this this little apron off to the side that represents what actually is here at the airport, or airstrip, I should say. That's going to wrap up this version of the video. And again, as we go through this and add more things in, we're going to start manipulating and changing. Some of the stuff that you see here will probably get changed, but this is a basis of how the airport is being laid out. Now, this is how I do it. Your methodology may change. You may do it completely different, and that's perfectly fine. For me, this is how I do it. I get it closely representing what I want, but this will never ever be the final project. This will invariably change a significant amount, I'm sure, but it gives me the benchmark. In our next video, we're going to start looking at things like lighting. We're going to get some lighting put in here. We're going to look at some runway lighting, taxiway lighting. So we're going to look at all that kind of stuff and try to put some of those things into place so that we have, some proper lighting. Now, this airstrip does not have a lot of night lighting. It does have some, but doesn't have a lot. We may take liberty with the realism there just to give a little more lighting, because I prefer to have a little more lighting. I like to fly between this airstrip. Oops. I like to fly between this airstrip, and there's another one. It's hard to see right there, but there's another airstrip right over there. That's a bigger airport than this is. Not a lot bigger, but it's actually a lot bigger. It's just not a huge. There's not jetliners that come in there and stuff like that. But it's bigger, and I like to fly between these two for a bit. And I like to do it sometimes at dusk and whatnot, and I want to see the lighting and the pappy lights and all that good stuff. So anyways, enough of that. Raymond, Stream Gamers, again, the whole like, comment, subscribe, and all that is wonderful. I appreciate that. I do all this stuff mostly because of a hobby, but I have decided that I want to try to grow the channel, and your support goes a long way. Or your continued support goes a long way, so please continue doing just that. We will get to the next episode shortly, and that will be episode 3. And episode 3 is probably going to give us a really good representation of what this airport, or how this airport is actually going to closely match what you saw at the beginning of the video in episode 1. What the completed airport will be. It'll never be exactly like that, because I did create that one, and I probably won't replicate it exactly, but it's going to be fairly closely representative. We will probably put some parking spots in the hangar, so that when you get in and you log in and you want to log in and you want to put your aircraft in the hangar, you'll be able to do that. We'll get the terminal building placed in here. We'll probably get a fuel tank put in here somewhere to get the fuel to the fuel box. We'll put in the rest of the hangars in here. We'll clean and dress them up. And then we'll do a bit of a review of the actual, hopefully at that point, mostly completed airport. All right. So, once again, appreciate the support. The likes, the comments, subscriptions. Comments are greatly noted. If you see something I've done that you think is weird, or you think I could do better because you know how to do this or that, in the comment section, I appreciate that. Enjoy life. Don't sweat the little things. They'll look after themselves. Big ones, do something about it if you can. Be kind. Love your neighbors and everybody around you. You have no idea how bad of a day that person beside you who's maybe giving you a bad look, or has been a little sharp with you. You don't know what's going on in their day. You have no idea how their day has treated them. So a little kindness goes a long way. Again, Raymond, Stream Gamers. Thanks all. Bye.